on nights, controllers lit like fireflies. Old freaky gamer in the zone, level up the unknown. Game talk news, it's all a thrill, conquering worlds with skill on skill. Game on, game hard, streaming stars were never far. Game on, game hard, in this conquest we're avatars.
Welcome everybody to the GamezAttack podcast here at OldFreakyGamer.com. This is episode 96, as I am calling this podcast Project Helix Double Bird. So how's it going, everybody? Oh yeah, it's going good for me. Oh yeah. There, we'll end that music right there. Oh, why does it start up again when I must hit it in too low. Welcome everybody to the GamezAttack podcast. I hope I sound a little bit different and a little bit better. I will find out myself when I actually re-listen to this a little bit later. The reason is that if you're not watching the video version of the show and you see my microphone all lit up and flashy, washy over here, I just purchased a new microphone, a brand spanking new microphone. This is a Shure microphone. It is the MV7 Plus podcast microphone, as it says here, where you can do podcast streaming and all that. I got it on Friday, and I was testing it out for a bit with, the live stream. That was the biggest test. I had it all put together because it came before I did the stream. So it was like during the day when I got home, a couple hours later, it came in the mail, and I set it up, tested it out, and I used it for my first stream, and I sounded pretty good, at least to me. I didn't sound too crackly or I don't know, anything else on there. And it seems like this microphone does a good job of for the pop filtering and all the other stuff. So when my voice gets too loud or crappy or something, it will adjust via the microphone itself. It'll adjust the audio and all that stuff and remove background noises and stuff and remove shit from my shit talk and stuff like that. And on top of that, I do got the NVIDIA broadcast that does its own pop filtering. I don't know if that contradicts anything. It doesn't seem like it yet. But I am still in the early testing stages of this. So doing this podcast is a big test because I am not just doing a video show. I'm also doing an audio show as well. So I want to make sure, and I'm going to bump myself up a little bit more for this podcast. I want to make sure that I sound very nice, loud, and crisp and clear to everybody. Even though my voice still sounds like my voice, it's not as warm as I wanted it to be. I wanted it a little bit better, a little bit warmer, like some other people out there. And I didn't want to use my sound effect board, which could change the voice and the tone of my voice and stuff like that. I wanted something via like the microphone to do that, but this doesn't do that. But it does a lot of stuff, and it actually has some cool features to it. Like I said, it has this little light up thing, as you can see here, and when I'm talking, it lights up and flashes when I'm talking. It does more than that. It's actually the mute button as well. So if I tap this right now, so for your audio version, audio people listen to the podcast, you couldn't hear me. For the video portion of you guys, you couldn't hear me. It turned red. So it's also a mute button as well. So that's pretty cool. Also on the back of it, it has jacks for many things. I plugged this into my computer via USB-C. You could plug it in using an auxiliary jack, not auxiliary jack, what do they call it? The professional microphone jack, you can use that. I think it is an aux jack. There's a more proper term for it, but you can use that. Or they said something about hooking it up to your wireless devices. I think you got to still hook it up to a PC to do that, but there are many things about it, and it also has a plug in the back for my earbuds as well, which you're probably thinking, Mr. Mike, your earbuds? Yes, my earbuds. Meaning I can hear myself talking and not just hear myself talking and like on the outside. It gives me the feedback. I can hear all my stuff on the soundboard here. I don't have to listen to it coming from the speakers anymore. So when I am doing my video shows or this podcast, I don't have to plug in my headset to one of these speakers or something like I usually used to do. I used to plug it into the headphone jack over here. No, I could just keep them plugged in to this microphone, and all the sound from my computer and me goes right back as a monitor through this microphone, the Shure microphone, which I say awesome, because I didn't think that was a feature of this microphone, but it is. And that to me is a very important feature, because that means I don't have to connect it to other stuff. That's one less thing to worry about. It's just all goes through the microphone. Less noises, less pops, less a lot of stuff. And like I said, I can monitor everything like this. And I can hear it in my headset as well, because it goes right back to through the microphone. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that's awesome. I just hope the main feature that I want to keep this microphone for, which I might keep this microphone, but like I said, I want to still continuously test it. This is the biggest test, though. This is the main test that I want to test it out for, is my podcast, because like I said, I want to sound the best. And my other mic, which is still a great mic, I'm keeping that as my backup mic. I got two of them. I got a FinFine mic, or FinFine mics. I got two FinFine mics. But they don't do as much of the pop filtering. They don't do anything else. They're just connect to the USB and that's it, and then record. So they don't do all this extra stuff this mic does, which you're probably wondering, how much is a Shure mic, or this brand of Shure mic, which is the MV7 Plus version of this Shure mic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this mic that I am testing out today, this is considered a professional mic, and it's not even the most expensive mic that you can get on the market or from Amazon or from anywhere. I got this on Amazon. This is a $300 microphone. Yes. A $300 microphone. No, I didn't really mean it that way. I'm just saying it's a very expensive piece of hardware. And for something like my FinFine mics, my USB FinFine mics, those are only $50. 50, 60, something around there. Not $300. Talk about an expensive hobby, folks, because like I said, I don't make money from my podcasts or my videos. This is just all fun, games, hobby, stuff like that. But I've been really itching to up the quality of a lot of stuff. Like I said, I upped the quality of the videos on what I do. I went from 1080p to 1440p, making a 2K high resolution and stuff, which makes all the other videos better and stuff, makes my streaming better and all that. And I'm like, Mr. Mike, I got to get the audio better. And this is something that I'm trying to tackle right now. And hopefully this works well. So far, so good. But like I said, it's still a test. And the ultimate test is when I edit this podcast, the video version, but also the audio version when I edit it, I want to make sure I sound really good back to me. Because like I said, I notice when I listen to myself back to myself, I can notice pitches and stuff and a lot of with my voice and stuff. And I'm hoping this will fix that. And I'm hoping that when I record the podcast and the podcast gets edited, for the audio version of this, that it sounds crisp and clear to everything. If it doesn't, if I still get like the the variables and the issues and stuff like that, I will return this microphone ASAP. But if not, which with everything else and me talking really loud into this mic and stuff and me going so far I haven't had the problem. Because like I said, it does adjust my audio, it keeps it level, it does a lot of stuff, a lot of processing inside the mic itself before it goes to the computer and back and stuff. It doesn't do any processing of the audio from the computer, but it does from my voice to the computer. And so far, so good. We will find out. You will find out on the next a podcast, by the next podcast, I should say, because there will be my streams and other videos that I do if I am keeping this $300 microphone. And I do repeat, $300 microphone. Yeah, I know. A normal person would cringe to that. But like I said, I'm not a normal person. And I do a lot of videos. I do a lot of podcasting. I do a lot of talking. And why not? I spend a lot of money on other stuff like RAM and PC parts and games and stuff. Why not splurge a little bit on a microphone, And like I said, I'm not rich or anything. I just doing this as a fun hobby. And if this is going to be my, like I always say, the lifelong hobby of mine, I want to do it good. I even got the lighting better. And this is by accident because I'm not just talking about this ring light that I got in front of me. I got this other desk lamp light here, and I'll show you right now. So I'll turn this off. Wait, hold on. See? That's off. Turn it back on. Now you're getting the coolness of the lighting. It's not too super bright like I used to have it and have myself. I noticed that these lights, but I only bought these other lights just to have some light on this side of the desk because I only got the little desk lamp on the other side of my desk and it doesn't shine over here. That's what I originally got them for. But when I found out these work as good studio lights and keeps my lighting good as well, I was like, oh shit, double duty right there. And I can adjust the brightness and the levels and stuff. So I've been upgrading a lot of stuff in my home office studio here, and it's fun. It's fun. Scary but fun because like I said, it's a lot of money. But what else am I going to spend it on? If I don't spend the money, I'm going to die. I'm going to die with money not spent, You can't win, folks. You can't win. I'm not gonna just let my money go into for the tax man to collect. The government don't get my money. I get my money. I will make sure I spend every damn penny before I croak. I will make sure of that, and the government gets nothing. So let's start talking about video games and such, folks. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm not going to say it, but shorter show, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I do got a lot about Project Helix to talk about the Xbox and what others been talking about and thinking about this hybrid PC, which we've been talking about for a while now, but a lot of people have been like forgetting about what they were talking about before. It seems like a lot of people forgot. They're like, oh, is this really an Xbox PC hybrid? What? And I'm like, they were talking about this a long time ago, right before. This was way before Asha Sharma was enacted as the new Xbox CEO and stuff, and before Phil Spencer got outed and Sarah Bond left and stuff like that. This was kind of in the works for a while. And a lot of people were thinking, oh, is this something that she and them are coming up with? No, this stuff has been in the works for a while. They were planning on doing this anyways. And we will talk a bit about that. We'll talk about how, what's going to be between PC, PlayStation, Xbox. Everybody's taking a new different route. Sony's dropping out of first-party releases. They will apparently release third-party games still. They'll release like multiplayer games and stuff still on PC and stuff like that and other consoles. But first party. They want to go back to locking those suckers down exclusive wise to their console, which I think is a very big mistake on their part, which, they could go back. They could go back, but still they got to do a good job. They can't just here it is. Here's your game. Like I was just looking on Steam today because I was buying another Steam game that was on sale because all these other Steam games around the Sony first party games are always going on sale, but Sony's games like Spider-Man 2, I wanted to see what Spider-Man 2 was going for, and it's still $60 on Steam. $60. I'm like, what fucking Sony? Get your heads out of your asses over there. You gotta start dealing some deals, once in a while. That's why your games aren't selling, because you keep them at high prices, and a lot of people can't afford or want to spend that much on your games. I'm sorry. Even though your first party games are good sometimes and they're high quality, people don't necessarily nowadays want to spend that money. It doesn't matter how high of quality you can have on your stuff. Look at me. I think that's decent quality podcast and stuff, and people don't invest in me half the time. They don't want to buy Xbox games and stuff, even though I think a lot of the Xbox games are worth the money, but I got Game Pass, so I invest in other reasons, and I still buy games digitally, but yeah, Sony's really sticking to their guns, and they're just going back because they think, with the PlayStation 6 and stuff, and their so-called maybe PlayStation 6 handheld or whatever that other, because it's supposed to be two devices, not just one device, which I think is also a kind of a big mistake. If those are going to be premium products and they're trying to get everybody to just put games out on that system, and Microsoft's going the route of, we're going to be more open. We're going to be selling games via our game stores. We're going to let third-party game stores from the PC side come on there and sell their games somehow, some way. I don't know what they're going to be doing with that. A lot of people say they're not going to charge them any money to do that because it's going through their third-party stores, and how would you charge for that stuff? I don't know. It seems weird. It seems like an interesting, weird thing, but because of all the rules and the laws and the suing going around in the EU and elsewhere in the UK and stuff, with all this opening up platforms, Google's had been forced to open up their platform. Apple, I guess, opened up their platform. I don't know if they're still kind of pushing back, but they had to open up their platform. Microsoft's trying to stay away from that. They're just like, no, we're just going to open up our platform right now so we don't have to worry about that stuff, because we see that shit coming. We see what the waves are going. We see how the future is. And if all these other big companies like Apple and Google have to open up their store platforms for their systems and stuff, we might as well just we might as well just open up our platform so people can sell their games either on Xbox or the PC, and we don't have to worry about any regulations or people suing us, countries or people. And still, for Sony and PlayStation and Nintendo, those are two of the last holdouts, because people even said Steam was like a closed system. They're not really a closed. You can sell on many other platforms, but for PlayStation and Nintendo, those are the last two holdouts. And I wonder what they're going to say about Nintendo at the very end, because they're going after Sony for some stuff right now. And they're going to force Sony to open up that platform. What are they going to do for Nintendo? Nintendo is going to fight with a lot of big lawyers, hand and foot, on keeping their platform closed. They're going to say, hey, we try to keep it safe for the kids and all this other stuff. I wonder what Nintendo is going to do about that when the EU and everybody else sues them and says, hey, you got to open up your system so people could sell their stuff and not have to go through you for payments and stuff like that. I wonder what Nintendo will do and say, because they're the litigious type. They're the biggest litigious type. Now, Sony, I'm sure, is going to be fighting tooth and nail as well, but probably not as hard as Nintendo. Nintendo, I am watching very very deeply on that because I'm wondering what Nintendo's going to do with all that stuff. But hey, open platforms means more choices for all us gamers and more choice, better pricing, better games, better easier to find games out there. You know, that's probably most of the best stuff you can get from open platforms like that. Now, payment wise, you know, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, Apple, Google, I'm sure they're not too happy about that because they want to make the money. And if they got open platforms and they can't control the ecosystems, that money doesn't go away, but it gets a little smaller for their piece of the pie because everybody could go to like third-party payment processing, or they can process the payments themselves. I noticed just buying a game on Steam now that they changed their whole thing. I had to re-enter my credit card information on Steam because they're doing a new thing because I'm, like I said, the EU and everybody went after them. So they got a new payment processing thing on Steam that I had to do. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. They're open with more payment types and all that stuff because I'm sure they're just worried about what Visa and everybody else is doing. So everybody's got their shit being looked after. Big business is always getting looked after. But before we talk about any of that stuff, and we talk more about the Xbox Project Helix and stuff and my knowledge, thoughts, ideas, Steam Machine versus PCs, PlayStation, and all that stuff, and everything else, let's talk about the games that I played in the past week, because might as well get started on that for this show.
The games that have been played in the past week.
As I drink some water, excuse me. Always very thirsty, folks. Very hydrating. I got to get very hydrated. The cold weather is going back up and down, up and down. I should say the weather's going up and down. I say the cold weather. The weather is going up and down, up and down. So I've been very, very dry and thirsty lately, and got to get that water intake in. Because when you're thirsty and your throat is dry, you got to get that water intake. Trust me. So, games that I played in the past week. So, I got to make a nice little correction. I don't know if I was talking about this on the last podcast, but I was talking about it in the stream and other stuff. I think I might have talked about it in the other podcast, but I've been fucking up lately. At least the last week, I fucked up many times on Final Fantasy VII. I kept on calling it Rebirth Intergrade and I even wrote it down in my show notes here, Rebirth Intergrade, when it's called Remake Intergrade. And I am a stupid dummy on that. And I want to make a big sorry and correction for everybody listening to me over and over again, saying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Intergrade if I was playing it. And everybody's probably going, what? How's he got a hold of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Intergrade already for PC and stuff? But I don't. I have Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is only called Rebirth, they don't call it Intergrade, that comes out in June. That's a June launch. So, yeah, I want to apologize for that. And excuse me, I'm adjusting my microphone here. So it's on my voice because I'm adjusting my chair because my leg is killing me. So I'm sorry about that. I wanted to make the correction on that because here's the fucking thing. Fucking Square Enix makes these fucking damn Final Fantasy titles so fucking confusing that and anybody could get these fucking easily mixed up. And me calling it Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Intergrade, that was my bad. It's Remake Intergrade. So that's what I've been playing. And also on my correction list, originally I was saying that, it only had 14 chapters in it because I searched it online from one of the major AI tools that I search on. And it said 14 chapters. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm at chapter 11. I'm going to be almost done with this. And then I go back. I'm like, it's got to be longer than that. And I go back and I just Google search it, and it's like, no, this is Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade's 18 chapters plus maybe a few extra chapters for that extra bonus stuff, the Intergrade stuff. I guess that's what the Intergrade entails, is the extra bonus chapters or whatever it is in that game, extra story and stuff. And I'm like, motherfucking fucker. So I got a long way to go. So on my last stream that I just did for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade on my GameOn live, you know, I pushed ahead. I played and finished a few more chapters, and we're going to keep going on and having more fun. So we're not done yet, folks. We got more to play each and every Friday. And I'm happy about that because I am enjoying the game, the story of the game of Final Fantasy VII really, really much. Even though a lot of those sometimes big boss battle events that go on in it are kind of cheap, and those big bosses can get really, really cheap. But what else is different out of that? But I think in this game, they're really, really, really cheap sometimes because I'm trying to dodge out of their way and I'm still getting hit, even though I'm doing my dodge rolls and my last minute dodge rolls and stuff like that. And a lot of the times you can't hit them and they're really locked down and stuff like that. But otherwise, I figure out a way and I bust through, and it takes a long time. The other only stupid little complaint that I have about Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and I'm sure that's with Rebirth as well, and it's going to be with the rest of this the third Final Fantasy VII chapter when they have the final chapter come out. They do a lot of backtracking, a lot of stupid, oh, we got this part of the game, this chapter, this level, whatever you want to consider it, and you got to go around this area, and you got to go back through this area. You got to go in the middle of this area, under the area, above the area, and then back to the front of the area just to get past this one area and stuff. And they do that so they can, rack up the time on the time it takes you to play through the game and, just pack on story and stuff. And it's like, and battles and stuff. And it's like, why can't I just go over this? And it's so aggravating because there's just like certain parts of this where I'm just looking, I'm like, if it was me in this game, I could just walk over that platform. Oh, that bridge went out sort of, but you could still climb on that beam and jump over there easily. Oh, why can't I just jump over there? Oh, this boxcar is in the way because I was in the ghost train yard. You're telling me I can't just go around or go through a window or squeeze through or jump climb over that boxcar or something? You're telling me I can't do that. Oh, this big beam fell down with this, wall beam or something, but it's really flat and you can see you can walk over it, but you can't because you can only go up to it. I guess characters can't climb over things. They're unable to climb, people. They can jump around, roll around, shoot magic and stuff, but they can't climb over stuff. And it's like, why? Why? It gets so aggravating. I'm like, why can't I just do this? But it's because it's a part of the game and the story, and they want you to go through their little mazes a little bit more and more. And it does get aggravating, and it does make the game a lot longer than it should be, because I think the game would be a lot shorter. It might have been 14 chapters if they would have just not had me go through every little inch of their level, because they made it so detailed, and they're so proud of what they did that they got to make you go through every little inch of it to look at every little thing. It's like, wow, Square Enix, why did you do that? Why did you do that? But all in all, still a fun game. Playing it on PC, it runs amazingly well. It's really fun to play. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade on PC. I highly recommend playing it if you were very stubborn, like I was, and very not big into Final Fantasy games of the past and stuff, and not knowing where to start in a Final Fantasy game. I unfortunately started with Final Fantasy 13. Now, I did enjoy playing that and playing through it and beating it, even though it took every ounce of my will and life force to do so at the time, because that was a very fucking tough game. That was a very tough, tough, tough JRPG. And of course, I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the biggest knowledge, but after completing other JRPGs like for the Persona games and the Like a Dragon games when they turned into JRPGs with Ichiban and stuff like that, I learned how to do a JRPG turn-based battle systems and all that other stuff. I learned a lot of that stuff with those other games because they taught me a lot better. And I went back to Final Fantasy 13, did the ATB system and all that, and learned that and beat that, grinding a lot, grudging a lot, upgrading a lot. Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade, a lot better. And I'm playing on regular easy mode. There's an easier mode than what is my easy mode because you get more stuff and they make it even easier and stuff like that. I'm just on regular easy mode where I didn't get anything at the start, but it is easy. It is very good. It is very easy. It lets me enjoy the story. It lets me enjoy the gameplay because you get to still fight everything. And even with those annoying super boss battles, it seems like I am able to beat them and learn from them, learn from the battles. But all in all, I would think people should start with Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade first and go on from there and then learn how to play the games, or try one of the, the Like a Dragon games and then go to the Persona games and try those a little bit. And then you get a good rundown on how to play a JRPG if you want to. And trust me, another thing, make sure you got a lot of time, or make sure you want to play this game for a very long time. Maybe you can only buy one game for a very long time. And I'm going to tell you, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade or one of these other JRPGs that I would just mention, they will keep you lasting for a very long time if you don't really have a budget to be buying $70 plus games every time that games come out. Or if you just don't want to play any of those other games, you know what I mean? So I highly recommend it. Cloud is a great character, even though he and the group of characters he's with Tifa, Aerith, and everybody else can be kind of dumb at a lot of times. And you'll hear me cussing them out on Friday from my Friday stream on GameOn Live with Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Yeah, Final Fantasy Friday. Yes. You will hear me cussing about that. So take a look at that. But it's fun. I do it all in fun because why not? It's a fun game. On PC, it is beautiful. I could play it on the Xbox, but why? I'm just playing on PC. Another game I've been remotely playing in time and time again because because like I said, I'm mostly playing Final Fantasy VII on my stream, which that's what I'm going to be doing. So I need something more different, but still RPG-ish in nature and its open worldness. And that would be Assassin's Creed Shadows from Ubisoft. And that I've been remote playing from my Xbox to my handheld Xbox ROG LAX. Always runs great. Having fun playing that game. In that feudal Japan era. And Naoe, she's just badass hot. What can I say? Nothing more to say about that. It's an older game. You all should know about this game. Ubisoft makes great open world games. They last a very long time. And trust me, this game will last me a very long time before I even get close to beating it. I haven't even done any more story. I've just been going around, opening up areas more and more, expanding my map, my map around feudal Japan before I go back and do the actual storylines. Now, note, I did kill some big baddies. Like I had this really big baddie that I just killed on the last playthrough of Assassin's Creed Shadows. I didn't even know it was like a baddie. It wasn't even on my list yet. He wasn't even on my list. He just showed up after I killed him, and it took a lot to kill him because he killed me twice because I was trying to jump out of the way, and he was a badass. And I killed him. Naomi killed him. I did some tricks. There was stuff, I took him up really high because he was able to climb ladders to top of points and stuff, and I would kick him off, and he'd fly off after I beat him up a little bit and kick him, and I'd kick him off, and he'd fall to the ground and lose a lot of health. I'd go rushing down. I'd go beat him up before he regained his health and stuff sometimes, because they could drink and eat stuff themselves to regen their health. And I'd go down there, beat him up, roll, beat him up, roll, beat him up. And then eventually he died, and I won't beat him. And then it said it was one of the main badasses in the game. And I'm like, oh, good. It's great. That means one less hassle for me to deal with one of the badasses to take down. So fun game, beautiful game. Love when they put games in Japan. That's why I can't wait till Forza Horizon comes out. I think that's Forza Horizon, what, 6? 6 or 7, I forget. When that game comes out this year, oh boy, I cannot wait to do some racing in Japan. That's gonna be fun. And it also makes me anxious that eventually I will go to Japan. I will go there for a vacation sometime, someday in the future, if the world doesn't burn down first. And I will go there, and I will have a vacation in Japan and enjoy it firsthand, even if it's my only vacation and I don't go anywhere else. That would be a great thing to do. Been playing some TCG Card Shop Simulator. It's game preview on Xbox for PC. Been playing that. I just, before I started doing this podcast, I've been, actually, I had to replay it for my Let's Play video that's going to be coming up this week, Wednesday, for Let's Play, because I, stupid Mr. Mike, accidentally deleted it while I was deleting other videos for the, clearing out some space out of my computer, and I accidentally deleted this one before I could edit it and put it in my produced folder. And I was like, and then I was trying most of the day trying to get the file back, because, they got those file restoration programs out there, and I was trying out all these file restoration programs and stuff, and none of them worked. I even tried a paid one, and that didn't work, and I'm trying to get my money back from that now. I don't know if I have to, do a credit charge back or whatever, but trying to get them to just give me a refund first, and then, but still, I was like, none of it's working. None of it's working. Even when the one app that I said I paid for found it and it so-called restored it, the file wasn't working. It was broken, even though I just deleted it not too long ago, and I didn't, override it. Because when you delete a file off a computer, if it's off a solid state drive or a spinning drive, it doesn't really delete anything. It just takes like a bit of code off the file name, and it doesn't show up on the drive. And then when the drive needs to be written on and they want to rewrite over something else, or they need more space to write over, they'll write over that file, like the video or audio or whatever your file it is, and then it's written over. But if you're actually going in there and formatting it and formatting the drive, it's still on the drive. So I was kind of stunned that it was not working and it was corrupted or whatever, because it was working, because I tested the video out many times before. And I should have edited it and put it and produced it, but I didn't. And hey, I blame myself. I blame myself for not being vigilant and making a mistake like that. That's my fault. That's my bad. But it was funny because I was working on it the whole day, just trying to figure it out, how to get it back. And I'm like, damn it, I think I'm going to just have to play the game and record it again, which I did. And it was fun. Played it again, did all this stuff, found out about some other weird saves. And then I'm trying to figure out, well, how do you delete cloud saves in Xbox for the Xbox PC and stuff like that? How do you delete those cloud saves? How do you stop cloud saves from, updating your save files? But all in all, I didn't care. I just kept playing the game the way I wanted to and made another good show out of it for this upcoming Let's Play this Wednesday. So get ready to see me play TCG Card Shop on my PC in game preview. And I guess they just updated it too, because there was a lot of settings that weren't in there, because the last video session I did of TCG Card Shop Simulator, they didn't have the ability for me to turn off VSync and stuff like that. And I was getting a lot of screen tearing on my screen, not the video, mind you, the video that was being captured from the game, but for my video of watching it on the screen to play it, it was doing a lot of screen tearing, and VSync was on. This is the weirdest thing, folks. VSync, it was on. It was checkmarked. So you would think it would not screen tear like that. And it was doing a major screen tearing. So I turned VSync off, and then it started to not tear. Makes no sense to me on why that happened that way, unless if they got their settings mixed up, whoever's making this game or doing the game, writing the code for the game, and they got it mixed up, and they really meant that VSync was off and it was supposed to be turned on or whatever. I don't know, because that was weird to me. I never seen a game like all the games that I play on PC. I never seen a game where you turn off VSync that it runs better and it doesn't do screen tearing. It's usually I gotta go find VSync and turn on VSyncs for me not to get screen tears from the game on my system. So that was kind of weird. That was a weird thing, but the game is fun. It's just like Supermarket Simulator. If you like Supermarket Simulator, you're gonna love TCG Card Shop Simulator, when you can have your own little card shop and you can sell cards. You can open up packs of cards. You can collect cards. Eventually you get to play those cards and battle people with those cards. They're like Pokemon cards. And you can sell other stuff too, like statues, plushies, whole bunch of stuff. It is a really fun game. And I'm going to keep playing it in Game Pass preview, or game preview on Game Pass for PC. I am going to also try it out on my ROG Ally, because now it has controller support. Before, I didn't even see the controller support. Now it has it for some reason, unless if I was missing it before. But I might try it out with that. I know it's not the best way to play the game. It's usually keyboard and mouse for that kind of stuff, because it's a lot easier and more specific to do. But yeah, I'm going to try to play it on my handheld next for TCG Card Shop Simulator, so I can have some fun with that. And maybe I might actually buy it. You never know. It's $15.99, I think, right now on sale if you got an Xbox Game Pass and stuff like that, or Game Pass Ultimate. And you can get this game at a cheaper rate. I know I do. And you never know if I buy it again. Even though I turned it on again. I was gonna turn it off so you don't hear me yawning. But I already own the game on Steam for the Steam version of it. But when am I gonna play the Steam version when I got the Xbox version, the Xbox PC version that gives me achievements that I like onto it? I know the Steam version gives you Steam achievements, but I don't care about Steam achievements. I care about achievements from Xbox. So yeah, I think they might get me to buy it from them eventually. It just came out on Game Pass, so it's got a long way to go. So I'll be playing a shit ton of this game. So yeah, I won't have to worry right away. And then they do also say it's game preview, so it is still being worked on for the Xbox and Xbox for PC. So things aren't in there that probably should be in there. And I don't know if I think a lot of that stuff is already in the PC Steam version, but for the Xbox and other versions, it might be a little bit different for that. Don't know why, but that's how it goes. And maybe this new Xbox will combine the efforts and make games more universal that way. Been kicking up and starting to start playing again Persona 4 Golden again. I know they're making that remake of Persona 4 Golden, but I wanted to continue on because I was watching the anime, the Persona 4 animation, And I was like, oh man, I got to start playing Persona 4 Golden again. And did. I downloaded it to my Xbox Raw Galley X, started playing that again. Where I left off on my game save file, and been playing and having fun and advancing through the story and advancing for this JRPG, as they like to call it, or story action JRPG, as they like to call it. And I'm like, okay, it took me to watch the anime to get me into back into playing the game again, and that's what I've been doing. Now I'm playing this game. After this podcast, I'm gonna go in the living room. I'm gonna be watching probably Pokemon the movie. I know, don't judge me. I think I'm watching Mewtwo Strikes Back or something. I might watch the original Pokemon movie as well, but they also have it in like a special Netflix version that I found that has Ash and everybody in 3D. They have them in like CG 3D. I didn't know they did a CG 3D version of Ash and Misty and everybody. I'm like, oh shit. I got them in, Netflix has them in CG. I didn't know they CGified the movie, but they did. I don't know if people liked it. I guess not, because you don't see them in, you don't see any other movies being CGified, but they CGified the Pokemon the movie Mewtwo Strikes Back. So those movies have been big. A lot of people were always saying, Nintendo and them never made too many movies, but god damn, they made they made a lot of Pokemon movies. I remember back in the day when I was a younger Mr. Mike, I did go see those Pokemon movies in the theaters. And I bought them too to watch them at home. I remember that. I was a big Pokemon fan back in the day. I kind of still like Pokemon. Like I said, I'll still watch the anime. I've been watching the original Pokemon Indigo anime, and I've been watching like I said, I'm starting to watch some of the movies and stuff again, because why not? They're available for me to do so. So why not? But back to Persona 4 Golden. Like I said, I've been watching the anime and stuff like that. And I'm like, I got to get back into this. I do like Persona. I never beat Persona 4 Golden before. And then after I beat that, I'm probably going to go back in history and go play Persona 3. What is it called? Persona 3 Portable, or what do they call it? The remaster? What's it called? Oh, shoot. It's Persona 3 Reload. Yes, I'm going to play that because I own Persona 3 Reload. I actually own both Persona 3 Reload and the other one, but I'm playing Persona 3 Reload. I'm going to go back to that because I did start that a little bit to see how that was when they remastered that version too. So I'm just going to play Persona 4 Golden, beat that. I don't really care too much about the updated version of it that they're doing, the remake of it. I'll check it out eventually when it's cheap, but like I said, I'm playing through it now, the original. And when I really want to beat it too. I'm pretty far into it, so I want to beat this game. And in order to beat it, I got to play it again. So, and when I played this game multiple times, I played this on the first time I played Persona 4 Golden was on the Vita. Yes, on the PlayStation Vita, because it came out on, I think it was on like PS2 or 3 or something back in the day. I don't know where it originally came out on, but then they ported it to the Vita, and I still do own the Vita version. And I got up to the Kenji part in the Vita version. And that's where I got up to the last time in this Persona 4 Golden for the PC version. I got up to the same part as I left off, like in the Vita version, with the Kenji part at the soap house. And I'm like, why, Mr. Mike, did I leave off at the same fucking exact spot that I did in the Vita version? So I had to break that curse of leaving off at the same part in the game as I did the last time. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to restart the game and start playing from the beginning because I already know what the game is like throughout the beginning of this game. So I'm just going to continue on, and I know how to play the game. So that's what I did. And I never lost a step because I watched the anime, because Persona 4 the animation, just does what the game does, maybe add some stuff, whatever. But that helped me get back into it, and I've just been playing it ever since, and it's fun as hell. And I'm gonna go for the gold in Golden and beat Persona 4 finally. And that's it. And then I also get Xbox achievements for that. So win-win for me. And it's a fun game, folks. It's great graphics for Persona 4 Golden. I'm surprised they wanted to remaster it at all. I think they're just doing it because the next Persona game, Persona 6 or whatever it's going to be called, it might be a little ways off before they finish that or whatnot. I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know if maybe they'll announce it this summer. I don't know. But they wanted to have something else to sell. So they're like, well, we did Persona 3 Reload. Well, I might as well do Persona 4 Golden again. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It took you guys a long time to do it. So I don't know. Like I said, I might check it out again down the road. But right now, I want to play and beat the original. And that's what I'm doing. Also, talking about going back to old games and old gaming things, Battletoads. The newest Battletoads game, the latest, greatest Battletoads game. I got back into that. I've been remote playing that on my Xbox Raw Galley X from my PlayStation, from my Xbox. Why? Because I'm stupid. I could just play it right off my Xbox Raw Galley X, but I chose to remote play it. I might just put it out on my Xbox Raw Galley X because I could just remote play Assassin's Creed Shadows to get that achievement. Because I started doing Battletoads on as remote play because I wanted to just use that as an excuse to get my Xbox achievement for, or my Xbox points for playing a console game for 15 minutes. Because if you play a PC game for 15 minutes and a console game for 15 minutes, you get points for those things. And I like to collect Microsoft reward points because I like to earn sweet $50 gift cards all the time to take money off of me playing and buying tons of games that I'll never play or play eventually. But been playing Battletoads again, and it's semi really fun, but it can be semi annoying at times. But I'm like, oh yeah, I played Battletoads. I'm like, they do a lot of creative things in this Battletoads game. And I wonder if people realize that, because you're not just playing a side-scrolling beat 'em up game. You're not playing just an arcade shooter as they did, making it like a Asteroids type of game or one of those other Space Invaders or something like that. They turned that into Battletoads. You go into a Space Invader kind of thing. Then they do a puzzle platformer, and then they do a fighting game. They do a lot of stuff in this Battletoads game that I'm like, that's very creative to add different things to this stupid Battletoads game with these stupid Battletoads. And the story is really stupid and ridiculous. But playing it, and eventually I'll beat it, I'm like, they added a lot of creativity to that game, to that Battletoads game. I have to hand it to them. I know nobody really gives a shit probably, but if you want something really unique in gameplay, I think Battletoads might be that game, folks. I think that is. Try it out. And it works great remotely from my Xbox Series X to my Xbox Raw Galley X. And then finally, of course, I've been playing some Minecraft Java Edition. You know me, I got to go dig. I got to keep digging. And plus, when I do Minecraft Mining Mayhem videos every other week, so I do a Let's Play and I'll do a Minecraft Mining Mayhem video, which is awesome because then it gives me more time to think about other games I want to Let's Play and stuff. And then for the Minecraft Mining Mayhem, it gets me into playing more Minecraft and building out my world again, which I've been playing in the Java version. I went back to the Bedrock edition to see if I could do some stuff like do my templates and stuff in my change out my what do you call it? I think it's just templates, right? For my backgrounds and make everything look different and stuff, all the blocks and stuff, all the Minecraft world blocks. And I can't do that. I can't just add it. I gotta get, in that version, you got to get everything from the store, apparently. and that really sucks. So I decided I'm going to stick with the Java version of the game because it lets me mod it, lets me put my own templates in it, lets me do all the stuff. So I couldn't put the X-Ray mod into that or X-Ray template into that Java or the Bedrock Edition version because it just wouldn't let me. It wouldn't. It wasn't accepting it. I put it in the folder, the resource folder, and it's like, nah. The resource, the theme folder, whatever folder it told me to put in, it's like, nah. Sorry, you got to buy this from our Minecraft store. And I'm like, okay, back to the Java version, which there's nothing wrong with the Java version. It's just you don't get the achievements, and it's like, well, am I ever going to get more achievements out of this game? You know, maybe I'll, excuse me again, transfer my my save file from the Java version to the Bedrock Edition when I play through the Java version. Maybe it'll unlock more achievements for me. Maybe, just maybe. But having fun with that. I'm building I'm tunneling right now. I'm building my tunnel, my railway system. I'm basically expanding my railway system. That's what I'm going to do so I can go farther, deeper, farther, and into the world and be able to build in other areas around my Minecraft world and expand my productivity, as I would have to say, going forward. But it's been fun. It's been really fun with that game, like all the games. So I've been playing a lot of stuff, a lot of different games lately. And it's excellent that I do what I do for a hobby and I do these podcasts and videos and stuff because then it just gets me into more gaming and it gets me into playing more games. And when the weather does eventually start getting warmer again, which it is kind of doing, but then it went back down again and the weather's been crappy, but eventually the weather is going to be getting really nice again. And then that's going to make it harder for me at times to be doing a lot of gaming and making these videos and stuff because then I got to focus more on my outside. And I got a lot of stuff to do that I want to do with my house. I want to do some sidewalks. I want to do some tree cutting downs. I want to maybe paint the house and stuff and do some other stuff. And I got an awning to put up after I take down the rest of all the Christmas lights that I got all over the awning. Banister thing there and stuff. I got a lot of stuff to do around the house, in and out. So it's going to be a very busy going into summer kind of thing. And I don't want to just, say, no, I'm not going to be playing that many games, but might not be playing that many games during that time because I'm going to feel guilty when it's really nice outside and I'm indoors playing and heating up the house playing video games with my computer or Xbox and stuff like that when it's like 60, 70 degrees outside. And I'm like, I should be outside doing stuff. You know what I mean? Because winter is going to be almost over. Not yet, but almost. And I got to start preparing. Got to start preparing, unfortunately. But don't worry, folks. Spring and summer only last so long around here. And before you know it, it'll be fall and winter again. So, yeah, whatever. So those were the games that I played in the past week. So I hope you enjoyed what I talked about there. How about we talk about this Xbox Project Helix thing going on here? Now, I already talked a little bit about it. I got a bunch of stuff here. I got about a bunch of reported stories and what Microsoft plans and doesn't plan to do. But basically, Xbox Project Helix, they did it, what was it, during Gamescom, I think? Well, not Gamescom. What was it during? Oh, shit. What was it during? Was it GDC? What is this? What were they doing this as? Ooh. Excuse me. It's been a little while and I'm trying to look this up here. Was it GDC? Yeah, so is GDC. I was just looking it up. And this whole Xbox Project Helix, we didn't know the name. Well, it's not technically the name. Oh, okay. I don't care about Solid Snake or Sam Fisher here. Something popped up gaming-wise on my PC and my announcement feed, but didn't care about that. We didn't know. It's not the actual name of the console, but it is actually the code name. Unless if they'd actually call it Xbox Helix, that would be pretty cool. And I got the logo behind me because they did make the Xbox logo as a helix, double helix there, because they want it to be the DNA. They're trying to make it sound like it's the DNA of the console there. So it could be Xbox Helix, dual. It's a dual console hybrid that they're making where it's not only a console, it's also a form of a PC as well. And, at GDC and all that stuff, they were talking about it, stuff at their whole GDC, what do you call it, press briefing and stuff. Apparently, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, or I call him Satan Nadella instead of Satya Nadella. I call him Satan Nadella. I guess he went on to talk in a comment about the whole reassuring everybody, Xbox staff and everybody and gamers and everybody about the commitment that Microsoft has still to gaming. It's the commitment that gaming is still a part of the Microsoft brand and stuff like that, even though Phil Spencer has exited the gaming landscape, and also Sarah Bond has also left Xbox. And, aka Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella or Satan Nadella, was trying to reassure fans that they are not sunsetting the console and not Xbox brand or anything like that, that they will be moving forward. It's not going to be just some AI ghost machine or something like that, that Microsoft is long on gaming. They're saying that Microsoft is in this for the long run for gaming and stuff. And they still think about AAA games on the console and making those AAA games and stuff. And he goes on talking more and more stuff, we got a great start to the morning with the Xbox team where we talked about our commitment to the return of Xbox, including Project Helix. What do you mean the return of Xbox? Don't you mean the next Xbox? Why are you returning to? Why are you guys leaving? Hold on. So they talk about how, Sharma is going to be, she's impressed with all this stuff, that she's learning the ways of the Xbox and the gaming and all that. And I'm like, okay, hopefully she does. But all this stuff was in the works well before her arrival and stuff and her taking over. And he talks about how, that this is going to be the next generation of consoles and stuff, that this is going to change the fate of Xbox and a whole bunch of stuff. And then Sharma goes on and talks about how and why these decisions, what and were optimized for. They're talking about a lot about optimizing and strategies, and they do the whole corporate thing where they're just talking about a bunch of stuff. But it's worth noting that policies, making policy a reality and stuff. They're talking about Halo is coming to PlayStation this year, that they will still keep putting games out in third-party systems, which, for me, I don't mind that. As long as they're making you money, and, I'm not going to still buy those games on third-party systems at all. But, they're talking about celebrating their roots and renewed commitments and, the whole corporate jargon, like everybody likes to talk about in their corporate views and stuff. But basically, they're still going to go the path of we're going to release games for all systems that we're not talking about, oh, this is going to just be on this console and only this console. They're talking about we're still going to put it on PC and PlayStation and some games on Switch and anything that wants to have our games on, and cloud streaming, stuff like that, phones, tablets, TVs, you name it. They want to put it so you can buy it and play it on anything and anywhere. Meaning maybe they might have to evolve Game Pass to that branch as well. That's what I personally would think when I hear that stuff. And that would be something really hard to do, because I know a lot of people like PlayStation and Nintendo would not like a third party to sell or have games to be played on their systems through their thing, because they wouldn't be making much money through their systems. But they're talking about Microsoft plans to rewrite Xbox DNA, but they're talking about here when a console isn't really a console. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be a console, but it's also going to be a lockdown PC in a way. I don't think you're going to be able to install things like Microsoft Word or anything like that on there, third-party apps in the way. Not that I know of. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But maybe this is the next steps to saying, hey, if you're going to spend so much money on a system to play your games, like an Xbox console, maybe you might as well get a PC, because that's going to be cheaper overall, because you can use it. If you're going to be able to use this as a PC, because I would guess if you're going to be able to play PC games on this dual hardware system, where it's going to be playing your Xbox console games and the backwards compatible games, and also you're going to be able to play various PC Store games, because they already got stuff like the Epic Game Store is going to be launching with the new Xbox console, because they got them on board, because they want to have those extra store apps on the console, because they want to make it more open so they don't get shut down by the EU and everybody else that is suing about this stuff. And they want to make it easier for people to play this thing. I would think they would include keyboard and mouse support for this thing, wireless keyboard and mouse support, of course, on top of a controller. So I'm thinking maybe they might make this, because it's supposed to have Windows built into it, and that they're supposed to build like the Xbox architecture on top of it in a more proper way than we have now. And they're also working on a more improved, also for things like my Xbox One X and PC in general, they're working on the new and improved Xbox PC side of things with the store and how your games play and run and purchase and all that stuff. They're working on a new thing that looks more like the Xbox app or the Xbox ecosystem, the Xbox dashboard in a way. So you can see it and it'll become more of an Xbox in your hands, because they do talk about that Xbox Anywhere thing, which a lot of people say, oh, they dropped that, but yet they're still trying to do it. So I'm guessing they're still trying to do it where they try to make every ecosystem look like the Xbox ecosystem. So anyways, and they do want to try to get these third-party services on their system. A lot of questions involving, well, how are they going to be making money if they're going to be able to, if they're basically allowing third parties to be able to sell the games from their apps and be able to play on their system when they can't really take a cut from these guys, at least that we know of. I don't think third parties like Steam and Epic Game Store is going to want to pay Microsoft a little fee or something to be able to have their storefronts on the next Xbox PC hybrid system that is Helix. I think they're going to still want to collect their own 30% or whatever they charge from their storefront and keep that money. They don't want to just chop the slice of the pie down any more than that. So I'm wondering would Microsoft's Xbox's vision is for this machine. Is it just going to be a premium hardware machine where it's over $1,000, which I'm pretty sure it might be. I'm sure it's going to be like over 1,000, maybe 1,200. Who knows? If you look at my Xbox ROG LAX, that's $1,000 right there. Now think of a way more powerful machine like this Xbox. But you got to also hear what Sony has to say about their next gen PlayStation system, their PlayStation 6 console. That thing's going to have 30 gigabytes of GDDR7 RAM and stuff like in there, and it's supposed to have like big giant, one of those more powerful, expensive AMD chipsets in there and stuff like that. So, and then you're not even talking about storage yet on that thing. If it's going to have some more storage, and they're talking about, oh, this is going to be pushing ray tracing to the next level and stuff, that's a lot of graphics horsepower right there, which you need a lot of memory for as well. That sounds very expensive in general. And that's not even including or talking about what Sony's been not really talking about too much except for their main machine, but they're supposedly supposed to be coming out of a PlayStation handheld alongside of that machine as well. How much is that going to cost the average gamer, So if you think about that, and that only plays their first party games and whatever third party games goes on their system, and it's locked down, if they're allowed to keep it locked down, because you never know, like I said, if the EU and all them try to open up their storefront over at Sony, that's going to be a completely different situation. That's going to be a completely different story. That means they're going to be trying to compete with Microsoft and everybody else on, oh, our system's got a good open. Microsoft's already been doing that, so they're pretty good on that. Sony, on the other hand, and Nintendo, like I was saying earlier in the podcast, they're going to be more against that. And I'm just really wondering what they're going to do about it. Now, for like this Project Helix thing here, like I said, it's gonna need something that is way fluent, because it's supposed to switch between Xbox mode and PC mode. That's what I'm hearing here. That's what everybody's saying about this Project Helix Xbox. It's supposed to switch from Xbox mode to PC mode. So Xbox mode for your Xbox games, like your backwards compatible games, your Xbox games in general, and then switch to PC mode if you're playing PC versions of the games and such. Now, is that going to be something that's just seamless, that it detects it and it'll just jump from back and forth to whatever mode you're playing on for the games? Or is it something where it's going to be a little bit more tricky? Because if it's going to be involving Windows in general, and it's supposed to be more Windows in general, especially for the PC side, it has to be Windows 11, or maybe a newer version of Windows. Maybe they're going to they started a new version of Windows, and they're going to put that under the hood that runs everything with the Xbox software on top and stuff. Who knows? I don't know what they're doing programming wise, but they must be doing something unique. How is that going to work? Now, is it going to be, I doubt it's going to be an all digital console. That's what I've been also hearing. And I look at screenshots, because IGN has like all these SDK screenshots of this dev kit that they're going to eventually send out, I think at the end of the year or something, or in 2026 or 7, did they say? Or it's either in 2027 or at the end of 2026, they're supposed to send out these SDK dev kits to game developers out there, the very lucky few that are able to get them. These have disk drives to them still. So obviously they're still going to be having a disk drive in this next gen console that they're going to have and keep the next gen console as, a console that you could pop in your discs into, and you can have backwards compatibility with your discs, and you can play your Xbox One, 360, and Xbox Series discs and stuff, and whatever else is backwards compatible and stuff into this console and be able to play that stuff. But then you got the Windows side. That's all digital, because I doubt there's not many games you can get a physical PC game from anymore, because they don't really sell physical PC games anymore. They do, but those are far and few between, because it's mostly just all digital now. Download it, play it, have fun with it. Same goes with the Xbox, which I was thinking that this would be the time that they just say, hey, no more discs. Let's go all pure digital with this console. Let's save ourselves a few dollars on having a active disk drive in this console and just have it as an all-in-one sleek system where you can keep, you don't have a big giant disk drive in there. You got more room in there. You got more airflow, stuff like that. You can fit more stuff into there. That's what I was thinking. But I'm seeing on these dev kits that they still have a disk drive and stuff. For the whole, like I said, interface, it's got to be sleek. It's got to be fast. And it's got to update in a way that is something that Windows doesn't do very well. Windows updates, but it does annoyingly update. And this console has to have everything under one roof if it's going to update. It cannot have two different updates. Like on my Xbox Rogue Ally X, I might get different updates from different services on that Xbox. I might get one from Asus or Windows from Microsoft, or from the Asus app from the, what do you call it? Oh, I forgot its name already. From the command central of that. And there's usually a few different updates in a few different places. And that gets a little confusing and daunting, especially when the Xbox PC app is always updating when I go onto it. When I go onto it, it's like, it's got to update. The PC Xbox app's got to update. Why doesn't it just update in the background and just update? Why is it got to tell me every time I log in, jump onto my PC Xbox app that it says, oh, you got an update? It shouldn't do that. And what's it going to do when you got to update Windows and Windows 11 or whatever version of Windows this is going to be? Is it all just going to be going on in the background? Is it all going to be just a thing? Does your Xbox have to just always restart when it does these updates? Because every time that Windows has a big update, it's always got to restart. Or is it going to just do it in the background and just continue to work? I know that is a question. That is one of my main questions. How is this console going to update these two versions of the console? Because you got, like you said, the PC side of this console and the Xbox side. And the Xbox app and the PC side app is both different coding technologies and stuff. And they're going to be updated in different ways. And it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they get past that to make it more universal and sleek enough so people don't get annoyed when they're going to their Xbox Helix consoles in the future and going, well, I want to play this Xbox game or I want to play this PC game. And then they get on and they're like, you got 24 updates in Xbox. And then you got 400 updates in the Windows side of Xbox. And it's like, now you got to update this console has to restart. Give it some time. It's got to restart again. It hasn't downloaded your updates yet. Oh my God. That would just be annoying. And that would take people out of that of approach. Even though people like me that are PC gamers are used to that kind of stuff. The home console player in general, the people that don't really want to do PC stuff, or they're just want to dip their toes into the PC side, and they're just getting this Project Helix console in the future because they're like, Well, I can't afford a $3,000+ gaming computer because, if you really want a good gaming computer, it's like 2,000 and up for, I said 3,000, but 2,000. Let's go a little down from that. I'm not even saying $1,000 one. I'm talking about like a $2,000. People don't want to spend even $1,000, but if these consoles are coming out, I'm sure they're going to be all $1,000 or close to it. And going forward, if you want to buy a PC gaming rig that works, you're going to be somewhere paying upwards to $2,000 or more dollars to just to get a good gaming machine. I spent, like I said, way over like $4,000 already on this machine, and that's stuff down the road. Which also, what's this console going to be like? Is it going to be upgradable, this console? Is it going to be one of these things where they come out with a brand new Xbox every year with better internal technology and hardware and stuff like that? Like you would do with a PC or an iPhone or something like that? Are they going to go that route where it's like, hey, this year we got a new machine and another machine that we're going to sell for people that want a more powerful machine and stuff to do gaming on with Xbox and PC? Because they did say back then that this was going to be a premium machine going forward. So if it's going to be a premium machine, that means it's going to be expensive. If it's going to have a lot of that stuff in here to power the up to 4K plus gaming that people want at 60 frames per second or better, So it's going to need that power, and it's going to definitely be a costly one. Now, also, like I said, going forward, how is the interface going to do? What's the interface going to be like? How much RAM, storage is going to be in this console? Are they going to keep utilizing the series console's memory gate cards, where you could pop one of those memory gate cards into the back? That would still be good, because then people don't have to go, oh, this memory card unit only works on the Series X and S, and now I can't use it on the next gen console, so that's a bummer. But if they could, that would be great. But on top of it, I think Microsoft's got to start allowing people to be able to upgrade their own storage with their own components, meaning put a fucking M.2 drive in that fucking next gen Xbox, Microsoft. Stop being pussies, stop making stupid backhanded deals with other companies, and allow us to put our own fucking M.2 drives in this console. So if we want to pop in a 2, 4, or 8 or more terabyte hard drive, I think they still only go up to 8 terabytes for M.2 drive right now, if you want to buy one as a regular consumer. If I want to pop in an 8 fucking terabyte M.2 drive in this console, you should let me fucking do that. Have a little pop-out tray in the front or back or something. Let me stick that stick in there, and you just format it, and you go, here you go. You got 8 terabytes of extra space onto your console. We gave you 1. Here's another. Now you got another 8 in this console, and then you could still use that Magic Gate memory unit on the back, and that's another 2 terabytes or whatever, or 4. I think didn't they go up to 3 or 4 terabytes or something? I got a 2 terabyte one. I think they went up to 3 or 4. And then you can have that as extra storage right there. And it's like, why not? Why not, people? But is Microsoft going to go that route? They never did yet. Sony has. Sony allows you to pop in your own M.2 drives, but Microsoft, they still go proprietary, and they still try to, let other, big manufacturers make, memory card units and stuff still. And it's just like, and people would start going, when they have that. You got to let people have their own choices. You got to let the users have their own user's choice on this. And you cannot just keep locking down like every little inch of this box. If it's going to be more PC-like, it's going to need more storage, because Windows is going to take up a lot of that, especially with updates and stuff. And if you're running that and an Xbox OS on this thing, that's probably a lot more like I said, that's probably going to be a lot more operating system storage that you're going to need. And then if you're telling people, oh, you're getting a terabyte, but it's being used up by the OSs, well, that's not good. That's going to be pissing people off. I know Sony has done that, and Nintendo has done that with their systems before, where they would go, you get a terabyte or you get a 512 gigabyte hard drive on this thing, but then the OS takes up about 35% of it. So it's like, oh, yeah. Oh, that's great. So hopefully Microsoft understands that, yes, we're going to need some more storage than what we provide or what we sell to the consumer. Let them put an M.2 drive into that next-gen Xbox Helix console, and then that's one less problem, especially if you're doing a PC Xbox hybrid there. You're going to need that. So that's another thing that they got to do. How much memory is it going to have in there? Is it going to have 32, 64 gigs of super RAM in this thing? Maybe, because it's going to need to do that for the added ray tracing and graphical improvements and stuff. So they're talking about some of the stuff here. Let's see here. Project Helix is designed to play your Xbox console and PC games, delivering high performance and providing ultimate player-first experiences. We are partnering closely with AMD to define the next generation of rendering and simulation, and AMD's tech has gone leaps and bounds from where it was in PC gaming and graphics and all that, and their FSR technology and all that stuff. Even getting really close to what NVIDIA is doing, and maybe they might even beat them because NVIDIA's more been into the AI-centric stuff lately, but still, they've been doing pretty good job on their graphics processing nodes and stuff like that. And I think they want to eat NVIDIA's lunch. They want to eat their lunch. They want to eat everybody else's lunch, and they want to be defined as one of those bigger graphics kind of companies out there. And also Sony's using AMD tech as well for their console. So you already know that AMD's got a lot of research and development in these SoCs. So it's unlike what Sony's doing, they're getting the more regular based, I think this time around, AMD processor, an actual more high performing processor. But Xbox is getting a custom AMD-based SoC, just like they did time and time before. And it's co-designed for the next generation of DirectX. So I guess they are coming out with the next generation of DirectX for future games and such, which is great, because it's been a while since they introduced a new DirectX. We're at DirectX 12, and it's been 12 for a very long time. It's time to go to 13, 14, or whatever they're going to call it. Project Helix brings intelligence directly to graphics and compute pipelines, delivering step change functions and gains of efficiency, scale, and visual ambitions. So meaning faster things, faster frame rates, graphics improvements, stuff like that. Stuff that these SoC chips can do. Beyond the SoC, it includes an order of magnitude increase in ray tracing performance and capability, which is always great, but it's like, okay, if everybody's just focused on this ray tracing, this thing can do ray tracing. What else is there? Isn't there other things that these games could go better for? It's always ray tracing. I know the shadows and the lighting and all that looks great. I know, because I play games with some variant forms of ray tracing and stuff, and they do look great and stuff like that. But it's like, well, if it's hard to make this hardware, first off, to do this stuff, then why are they pushing it so much? But guess they can't help themselves. Beyond what's currently possible with the Series X and S, Ronald continued, that's who was talking about this at the keynote. It also unlocks GPU direct work graph execution, eliminating CPU bottlenecks, meaning that the GPU can actually generate its own workload in real time, delivering a massive uplift in performance and enabling massive real-time simulations and large complex worlds using runtime generated geometry and large-scale interactive worlds that players can actually want to engage with. Basically, they're talking a little bit about AI, I'm guessing. And 2, using the graphics processor to do more of that stuff means, like they said, takes it more so off of the CPU, which is a little bit slower in times. And the graphics processing actually is very powerful and very fast. So, yeah, I understand that stuff. Maybe most of you don't, but it just means that, when you're rendering stuff, like when I render my videos and stuff, either for streaming or recording or just editing them for, like I said, making videos and stuff, I'm always using the GPU instead of the CPU because the CPU runs like the applications and everything else and does all the, what should I say? The, not calculations, but the coding, the, instruction based on how to do the encoding for the video, and then the GPU actually works on it and makes the looks at the instructions and all that and actually builds that coding in making the video and stuff and making it either smaller, tighter, better graphically and looking and sound and shapes and stuff, and reducing terror or whatever in that video and making the video what the video should be like when I do in 1440p than I did back in 1080p. It renders those videos a little bit bigger, but I'm using H.265 to slim them down a little bit, but still keeping the higher quality because that's what those package codecs do. And that's what they're talking about, how the GPU is going to handle more of those bigger open worlds and making them more graphically impressive because it doesn't need the slower CPU part of it to calculate all that other stuff, where the CPU can focus on the background applications and the game itself and then give instructions to the GPU to do all the heavy lifting like it should do. So if you understand a little bit of what I said there, that's what they're doing. The key part of that is how we're integrating the next version of AMD FSR into the Project Helix, which is their fast frame rate, what do they call it? Fast frame rate generator. So it generates more frames and makes them look really just like what you would see when the video is moving in your games and stuff. So, and into the Xbox Game Development Kit, and this is really designed for the next generation of neural rendering technologies, whether that's neural materials, whether that's generated images, or even you think about things like the latest ML-based upscaling techniques or super resolution techniques. You think about brand new ML-based multi-frame generation, and there's even new capabilities such as a brand new ray generation technique that's really designed to deliver high performance ray tracing for both real-time ray tracing and path tracing. They also went on to talk about deep texture compression as it relates to Project Helix. I think if you look across the industry right now, and you can look at the massive increases in storage prices and memory prices, if we want to continue to push the boundaries, we need to invent brand new techniques that allows us to leverage our software in more efficient ways while also still making games accessible, he stated. And he also thinks it is a responsibility and reality call to action across the entire industry. There's a ton of work that can be done to on the hardware side. There's a ton of work that we can do on the software side, but it's also about how you take advantage of this as developers. So basically, try to utilize your software, making it smaller and stuff when your software is going as a gaming program. Make it so it's more accessible, make it more friendlier to when you're doing ray tracing stuff, do tricks to make the fake ray tracing and stuff. There's a lot of things people can do to make their games look so beautiful and so graphically intense without using you know, the massive amounts of ray tracing. Look at what people are saying about Resident Evil Requiem. Now, personally, I'm not a big fan of it, but you can't deny it does look very good. And they make that game look really good. And they're even talking about how the game looks just as good on the Nintendo Switch 2 than it does on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Yes, and they did say PS5 Pro compared to a Nintendo Switch 2. And people are saying, wow, Switch 2 doesn't have that graphics horse capabilities like the PS5 Pro, but it looks just as good. So that tells you something about the hardware and the software tricking the hardware to bringing up more visual graphics and stuff like that people still want. And I keep still saying that maybe we should tone some of that stuff down a little bit so games don't become juggernauts with price, you know, because it ups the price and makes games more expensive, which means it's harder for developers to make the games or even get paid to make the games. And then they don't make as many of the games because people don't want to spend $70+ on games. You know, it's a big fucking hole that shouldn't be, but it is. So they talked more about the Project Helix features and targets. Plays your Xbox console games and PC games on the one device. Powered by a custom AMD SoC co-designed for the next generation of DirectX, which they're working on, which is great because when that comes out to PCs and stuff, that means my PC and all that stuff in the ROG Ally is going to work even better with games. Next generation ray tracing performance and capabilities, GPU directed workflow graph execution, AMD's FSR Next Plus Project Helix. So the next generation of FSR built for next generation in neural rendering, next generation ML upscaling, new ML multi-frame generation, new gen ray generation for RT and path tracing, deep texture compression, neural texture compression, direct storage plus ZSTD. So you can get STDs from this thing. That's what it sounds like. I love how they make some of these word comparisons and stuff. Direct storage plus ZSTD. So they did say, okay, so I'm reading this on. So Project Helix or alpha versions of Project Helix will be sent to developers in 2027 for them to make games for the next generation console. So that basically means that you won't see this console until 2028, which good. That's when it should come out, 2028. End of 2027, 2028. Let these people work on with this technology. Let them understand this technology and then bring it out. It's still short, but they should do that. You should definitely do that, especially when memory and storage prices are through the roof now. People are always saying maybe 2028 and maybe 2029, maybe that storage and, you know, memory technologies and such might go down in price and might go get more plentiful and stuff, but we'll see what happens. AI is really fucking up everything with prices and stuff like that. I don't even know. Already talked about the rest of that stuff, but I'm still wondering, like everybody else is, how is this interface going to flow? Is it going to just be one dashboard and it's going to show your Xbox and PC games on that one dashboard like it does already in the Xbox app, sort of? And then whenever you click on it, it'll go to the right section. It'll be like, oh, this is a PC game. So we're going to open up the PC side of this rendering software and we'll be able to play your PC game because it's running off Windows. Oh, it's an Xbox game. So it's going to run off the Xbox software portion and it'll be so good you won't even know. And for PC games, because they're putting on all these other PC stores and stuff, such like that, and I'm sure the Xbox PC store is going to be on there. I wonder how sleek that's going to be. And I wonder if it's going to be, like I said, more of a lockdown PC if you can't like install and run like Office and other stuff. Maybe this will be like, oh, but you can install your PC games from any system. If it doesn't matter if it's Steam, Epic, Xbox, PC, or anything else, you'll be able to install these games and play them because it has that Windows architecture in the back. It's going to just be a lot simpler because you just go click, install, there you go. There's your game, PC side. And also I already talked about how how Xbox reported that it has no plans to return to exclusives anymore. Right now, they're just like, hey, exclusives don't make us money. It's not going to do anything for us in the future, even though Sony's going back to exclusives. We got to start focusing and working on trying to make money off of all our games in the gaming industry and stuff like that, because we got more than just Sony as our competition. There's people are still looking to, like people were saying, Sony's might be looking to Steam as their competition in a way, and that Steam machine that supposedly might be coming out this year, because Valve did stated in one of their press statements that, hey, even though hardware and technology has been very hard and expensive and fucking us over, we might be still coming out with the next generation of our, Steam machines and handhelds and all sorts of stuff. Or they said Steam machines and like their handheld, like their VR goggles and stuff like that. They said it's still coming out this year, and they're still bringing out this year. We'll see, but I don't know, because I also have news about what the Steam machine is going to be like. And if it's, like I said, if it's going to be like a 1080p system, like I was talking about it, and all that stuff, is it going to be really worth the price that they're suggesting it might be? And this ain't coming from Valve or anything, but this is coming out from third parties. And I'll talk about this in the Game News Now section. But are you going to want to be getting a Steam machine over one of these consoles? If it's going to be less powerful, it's going to do less, it's going to provide less, graphics and horsepower and stuff. Because by then, you might as well just get a Nintendo Switch 2 if you can play all your third-party games on it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Sony's going to be the one that I worry about the most, because they're the ones not really putting out the games. They're the ones that are still sticking to their ways, and they're going back into their little hidey hole there over at Sony and PlayStation. They're going, oh, we don't want to sell our first party exclusives. They're going to remain exclusives to the PlayStation. We don't want to sell them on Steam or anywhere else because we don't make as much money and people don't buy our games. Because here's the real true fact here, Sony, PlayStation, Sony. You don't do enough advertising for those games on the PC platform. And two, you release those games years out past what your PlayStation exclusivity is on your main console. So that's two, because it's so far away. People already probably played it on your PlayStation if they own a PlayStation 5 or PS5 Pro and stuff like that. And then on top of it, you keep prices high. You don't ever lower the prices on these games after time and such. And it just causes people to not want to buy those games because they're like, oh, this is like already a 3+ year old game. Why do I want to spend $60 to $70+ on this older PlayStation title that you just ported onto the PC, and sometimes it's not working correctly? So I don't know. I wonder, I question what Sony's still doing on, or what Sony's supposedly planning on this. And Microsoft, like I said, they're not doing too hot. They got the AI slap. You got Satya Nadella kind of pushing people out over there left and right. There's still uncertainty over there. You got Asha Sharman from the AI group, which she was only there for a couple years anyways. So she only even got the 10 years. She's just learning things. You got all this roadmap on the table already, and she's trying to learn all that stuff. But in the end, like I said before, and, Saint and Nadella did say it again, that no matter what happens to the Xbox hardware part of things, they're still going to continue to sell and put out games and make games for like PC, whatever. And, it's still going to be that system where they still make games from their studios and such and port it to other systems and stuff. They're still going to be making money off of games. They're still going to be in gaming. Even if the box doesn't do well, they're still going to be in that gaming realm, which I even said, hey, if I don't decide to buy a Project Helix console, which I don't think I will because I do have a Series X still, and if games are still being able to be played on the Series X going forward, that's great. If I have a PC and if I can play all these new titles and third-party titles by purchasing them and downloading them on my gaming PC, I don't need this console because I play most of my games on a PC anyways. And if Microsoft can convince people, if Microsoft/Xbox can convince these third parties to port all their games mostly on, if they don't want to port them to the Xbox side, but they want to do it through the PC side, and I can still play them and get achievements and such from those said games on that platform, and I can just download them to my PC here, I'm good. I don't need the hardware. I got the hardware. I got great hardware here. So that's going to be, there's going to be a difference. And what are you going to really be getting from what Valve's hardware is? That's, like I said, I'm going to be talking about that in the news section in a few minutes here. What else? That's it. So I guess we're going to get into the news section here. So why don't we get into the Gamez Newz Now section and, talk about this stuff, especially with Valve. We got EA stuff to talk about and a bunch of other stuff. So why don't we get into that now? Because I don't have any more stuff to talk about. Project Helix, like I said, and we were talking about this and I was speculating this before. It is a futuristic part PC, part, gaming console. If they're still going forward with backwards compatibility on the Xbox side, great. If they're going to ever crack that nut on how to get Xbox games to run on PC, on the PC side and run it well, that would be even better going forward, because I would like that going forward instead of just going, oh, well, I own a PC, but I can't play my Xbox games anymore because, the next console ain't going to, the next console, my console that I have doesn't play those games, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting, especially if they keep it looking the same way as they do with the Series X and S and stuff. That seems to be their shell part. They're not trying to make it too snazzy or anything, which, saves on cost, I guess, if they're going to make these future Project Helix consoles the same as Xbox Series and Series X and X and S console. Why not? Why not go with what your strengths are, And for, like I said, the interface, all that stuff, it's got to be sleek. It's got to be fast and for downloads and uploads. And it's got to be user-friendly when it comes to updates. Because if that updating gets really hard and messy and it just becomes a hassle, you're not going to get people to buy this console. You're not going to get them to buy this console. And I wonder if how much Windows is going to be locked down for this thing. Because I'm sure they're going to want to, third-party developers are going to want to make sure that this thing is secure enough so their precious software doesn't get ransacked and stolen and bootlegged and stuff like that. Because that's what happens with this kind of stuff. So let's get into the Games News now with the Games News Now.
Locked and loaded, ready for the fight. Game talk news, gonna set the stage alight. Mr. Mike's got the scoop, he ain't holding back. Dropping bombs on the gaming industry track. Hear the thunder, feel the roar. Game talk news, gonna settle the score. From E3 to PAX, they got it all. The highs and lows, ready to brawl.
Okay, there we go. I turned off my microphone for a second while I was drinking water, so I don't hear me going glug, glug, glug in the background. On top of this, I don't have any, because I think I talked about this last time on my GamezAttack podcast, on the GamezAttack podcast. I talked about Nagoshi Studios, the ones that were making Gang of Dragons, the guy that was making Gang of Dragons, and the fact that he was making this game and it was supposed to be really, really cool, and NetEase basically are dropping their funding for it because it needs another $50 million or so and stuff, which is a lot of money, but technically isn't. But it depends on how much NetEase invested in the company and the game as of now, and what a third party or whatever has to do to get their money back from that if they wanted to invest in that. It would be really sad to me, and it's been like others have expressed the same thing. It would be really sad for people like me and you not to be able to play this game, because game is being made in his own studio as the developer or the original creator developer of the Yakuza series, the Yakuza series, the original Yakuza series. And then he left RGG Studios not too long ago to create this game, to create his own new studio and his own game. And it just seems very upsetting that maybe he won't be able to do that, and this studio might have to shut down, they're talking about, because they only got enough funding up till May. So we're in March now, April, May, so 2 more months after this month. I was just wondering, and this came popping up in my mind, and I'm like, didn't they have online crowdfunding sites for this? Didn't they have like a gaming crowdfunding site? I know they have Kickstarter, but didn't they have another official site that did crowdfunding for games and such, that people could try to, us as the players could invest in these games, that we get like the game digitally and stuff, maybe some extra collectibles depending on what tiers it is and stuff, and that we would invest to get this game fully made, and it would be like, and they made like $50,000 or more for these games and such. I'm just wondering, I wonder if he would be up to doing crowdfunding, going on Patreon, doing this or that, and having people like me and you help fund the rest of his game so he could put it out on various platforms, and maybe get us in the game as in credits, and maybe get us early copies of the game or whatnot. I would like that as well for a platform of choice. I don't know. That sounds like something they could do. If it's, if they only need $50 million and such, I know that's a lot of money, especially nowadays, but what would it take for maybe crowdfunding if enough people like his stuff and they look at the Gang of Dragons trailer and stuff, because I did, and you think it might be interesting, we could all chip in some money to help crowdfund that game. I don't know. That's something I would be willing to do. And I don't really crowdfund anything, but this would be something I would like to put some money into for the crowdfund if they went that direction over in Nagoshi Studios, because I would definitely go drop out on Patreon or one of those game Kickstarter type of game sites And I would definitely put in some money for this Gang of Dragons thing. So that's something I would hope he's thinking about. And hopefully his studio's thinking about, instead of just saying, let's just use up the rest of the money and we're going to close up shop at the end of the 2 months and that's it. That would suck, especially if they put a lot of work into that game. So talking about other studios that are laying off talented workforce of people and not closing studios, but it sounds like it's closing studios. EA has laid off staff across all of the Battlefield studios following a record-breaking Battlefield 6 launch. That sounds very scummy and shitty, but also I've been hearing from other individuals out there in the gaming industry that they're probably doing that because after Battlefield 6, you don't need as many people to be continuing to work on the game and adding DLC and stuff like that over time. That's a normal thing, but why not try to get those people onto other projects or something, or maybe work on the next Battlefield game for the future, And I wonder how many of those people are contract people and stuff like that, but it says it's coming from the studios. It's coming from all 4 studios will remain operational, but the layoffs seem to be impacting a variety of teams across multiple studios and offices that work on this stuff. So they're talking about this is including workers from Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studios. And also, didn't they say also, what's its name? Respawn as well. I thought Respawn was one of them as well. But that sucks. It sucks big time. Yeah, I think Respawn was also. It's just not in this article, apparently. But that sucks, especially when they got an actual very successful Battlefield 6 game going on now. And why not have people work on more DLC for that, or Battlefield 7 and stuff? Start working on that. Plus, don't forget, EA is still getting bought out. They still got and Vince Zampella died in a car accident, of course. And then they're still getting bought out by the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund and Silver Lake and Infinity Partners for $55 billion. Even though the acquisition has not yet been closed yet. But, you got all these third parties buying up EA in general. So you got all that going on. A lot of shit, a lot of bullshit. And, it's more talented people out the door. Hopefully a lot of those people get some jobs. And if they can't find jobs, I don't know what they work on or what their skill set is in the gaming industry. But if their skill set is more than just doing artwork or something else, if they can make games, maybe some of them should get together and make their own indie games and sell some indie games, because that's big business. A lot of great indie titles coming out there. And if you get the right indie game and people are fascinated by it and stuff and it catches, there you can make money off of that. Just saying. So c'est la vie to those people out there. So I was talking about the Steam machine and stuff like that, and how people think this is going to be the be-all, end-all thing, and it's going to wipe Xbox off the map and Sony and stuff, and sometimes they say Nintendo, and I'm like, hold your horses there, you vile creatures there. Because, a lot of people hate Windows right now. They hate Microsoft, which I hate Microsoft. I don't hate Windows. I think Windows has been working just fine for me, but I got a custom PC, so I don't got one of those PCs out there that use that lesser form of hardware technology. I have a custom PC, and a lot of times that doesn't hit custom PCs with that stuff, because this is all, the major brand stuff being made. This ain't being made on a assembly line like these pre-built machines that people get, because how many people out there make their own gaming rigs nowadays? You guys usually just buy your gaming rigs, right? And then you just add to them. Maybe you'll add a graphics card or something to them. But mostly you buy them already pre-built. So my machine wasn't pre-built. It was built by me. I just sourced all the hardware and then I built it and then I put Windows onto it. Everybody's like blaming just Windows, which, you know, Windows can fuck up a lot, but everybody's like, oh, it's so bad that we just want to go to and just use, Linux and use the Steam big picture mode and stuff like that, you know? And I'm like, yeah, good luck on that, because a lot of those Steam variant games don't work on Linux too well. And, you know, you got the online games, a lot of those got the anti-cheat stuff, and that doesn't work on there. And it's like, good luck. And Valve was talking details about the Steam Machine's verified program, where they're talking about these games got to run at least 1080p, 30 frames per second. So they say the Steam Machine verified. All deck verified games are machine verified. Some input expectations as deck. I don't know what that means. 30 frames per second at 1080p for verified performance, 6 times the Steam Deck. So they're not talking 4K anything. They were originally talking 4K, but now we're just seeing, oh, this is only 1080p 30. Okay, so this is like lesser than an Xbox and way less than a PlayStation. Not testing display resolution or legibility. Updated API to detect hardware. Let's see here. So they said if it's going to be a verified Steam Machine game, it needs to run at 1080p 30 frames per second. Beyond that, any game is verified on Steam Deck already will automatically be verified on the Steam Machine. Valve can carry over that verification because, like with the Steam Deck, a game needs to be able to use a controller 100% of the time to earn the green check mark. So they're like, hey, we got to make sure that these games play with our controllers or third-party controllers and such. Most likely they're controllers, and people aren't going to always be using keyboards and mouses for these Steam machines, even though I'm sure they could. So they're talking about in this article, what happened to 4K 60? Well, when Valve showed off the Steam Machine, it made a big deal out of it being able to play most games at 4K 60 as long as FSR is enabled. While it seems like that target is incompatible with the verified program, only requiring 1080p 30 frames per second, it actually makes a lot of sense. After all, you turn FSR to performance mode on a 4K display, the game is going to be rendering at 1080p anyways. And also, they're talking about stuff like, the GPU is equivalent of an Radeon RX 7600M. 1080p at 30 frames is much easier to clear. The Steam Machine will probably lose some of that performance upscaling to 4K with FSR, but as long as the game has some breathing room over that 1080p 30 frames minimum, it should have no problem being able to be playable at any higher resolution, even if it isn't the native 4K gameplay that people want to see with a new 2026 gaming device. So basically, the Steam Machine isn't going to be not super powerful, but it's going to be somewhat powerful. And that's what I said. I was even saying, I'm like, this isn't going to be the end all be all PC. This is going to be a small, like regular Linux based PC machine, gaming machine that can do some stuff, but it's not going to be, it's going to be like everything else. It's going to be under the Xbox power and under the PlayStation power. It's going to be maybe above a little bit, maybe equal to or above maybe Switch 2. I don't know. But if they're going to be charging like over $1,000 for this machine, I don't know how many people are going to want to be spending that. A lot of people are saying their limit is going to be up to $750. That's what people are talking about. That, hey, $750 would be like their highest price point for this machine. One guy, which I don't know how much you want to believe him, he's from Russia. He's a Russian user, stated that, oh, if this is just $1,000, that would be a reasonable limit. Maybe in your country, sure, but anywhere else, $1,000 for that machine is like a no-go. I don't know. I was hoping that this machine would be like $400 to $600. Now you're seeing like $7+, $8+, $100. You know, realistically, like $1,000 for this thing, especially because they said it was going to come with a controller. I don't know if it's going to come with 2 controllers, but I knew it was coming with at least a controller, one of those newer Steam controllers. And, you know, all these people, these non-Windows based people that hate Windows so much, they're all praising this thing. They're like, oh, this thing's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then when they buy it and they play on it, they're going to be like, oh, it's okay. It's no Xbox or PlayStation or a huge gaming PC, but okay. And I just wonder, I'm like, so why are you complaining about all these other machines and what they can or cannot do? At least they can play the games at their native resolutions or better on their consoles and stuff. I don't know. I think there's just so much little hate on that side of the Linux side. I think they just don't want to hear and say, oh no, I don't want to hear about this Xbox and PlayStations and stuff, mostly Xbox and PC and stuff like that. We just want to be on our Steam machine. We want to be free and open with Steam OS, even though a lot of games don't work on that, but okay. And if this is going to be an expensive game, that's okay. Just saying. Talking about Steam, I did this. I got a free game out of this. Steam dropped a free zombie survival game you can download and keep forever. It's called -9 is a 9/10 shooter. 9 out of 10 shooter. Okay, so -9. That's what this game is. I don't know nothing about it. It's a free-to-play game, of course. You know, it's one of those games, so I'm sure there's ways that they try to monetize to make money off of it. There are touches of roguelike gameplay in -9, as each playthrough changes the layout of the facility. You have to plan routes to find generators to restore power, unlock the next level, blah, 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 blah. It looks cool. It looks like a little pixelated top-down thing, and you're shooting up things. It makes me looks like some other games that I was playing before, and I'm like, why not? It's a free game. Why not? So I bought it or got it from Steam when I heard about this. So check it out. If it's still free when you listen to this podcast, go get it. It's -9. That's what it's called. It's on Steam and it's free. Let's see here. They're talking about how another PlayStation era comes to an end. Gamers share their mixed feelings. So this is when we were talking about how people aren't going to probably see Marvel's Wolverine game or the next, God of War games or anything like that on PC, unless if Sony changes their mind again and the PlayStation isn't making as much money and selling enough copies. Maybe they will think about PC at least again and stuff like that, at least before console. And the whole thing is they should have released these games simultaneously for PC and console, and then maybe they wouldn't have to worry about it. But they say that their brand has been diluted by that, and they're just diluting their brand, so they got to make sure these these single player games are just exclusive to the PlayStation. And they're worried about stuff like, hey, maybe the Steam machine might eat our lunch in the PC platforming, and we don't want our games to be playable on a Steam machine, some pettiness and stuff like that. Because why would a company like Sony just not want to make or print money for themselves, It's a question. It's what's Sony planning on doing when they don't got that many first party exclusives anyways? And how big is Wolverine going to be anyways for them? Could it be really big like they did with what's that game? Was it Helldivers? No. Yeah, it was Helldivers too, but what was the other game? Trying to think. I think I'm thinking of The Last of Us or something, The Last of Us 2 or something like that. The Last of Us series and stuff. And then they got the God of Wars and all that. I don't know. But Bluepoint Dev thinks that PlayStation has pulled back from the PC in response to the Steam machine, not that Xbox next gen console. I guess they're talking about how to say more interesting possibility if Sony is responding to the rise of the Steam-based console ecosystem, aka recently announced and subsequently delayed Steam machine. Consoles largely exist because they provide a cheaper, simpler alternative to gaming PCs. For most households, a dedicated gaming console is just easier to justify than building and maintaining a high-end PC. But yet, you can do more stuff with a high-end PC, I'm just saying, than a gaming console. You can only just play games on it. But with a PC, you can do more. You can search the internet, do this, that, blah, blah, blah. But that's just me. However, Valve releases a new Steam console that provides a console-like experience while giving players access to an entire PC gaming library. That could become a very compelling option. At a scenario, Sony were releasing all their games day to date on PC, the Steam console could effectively offer the best worlds, console simplicity, and full breadth of gaming. I don't know. I think they would be overreacting on that because remember, the Steam machine and Valve is always, as Gabe Newell and his company is, they're always niche products. They're always niche products coming out of their thing. They can be very successful, like the Steam Decks and stuff like that. But then there's other people that always go beyond what they do, and they make more powerful machines, like Asus with the Xbox ROG LAX. Way more powerful than the Steam machine. And they keep evolving those devices. Everybody keeps evolving. And Valve, they're just like, we're going to wait for the next gen hardware. We're going to wait for the next gen hardware. Oh, we're not ready to do this yet. Oh, we're not. And they don't really sell, as big as they should. And they're not going to go out there and sell as much bulk of stuff as a Sony or an Xbox or a place, a Nintendo and stuff like that. So I don't think Sony should be worried at all about it. Now, if they don't want to put their games out on Steam, that could be a reason, just like they won't ever put their games on the Xbox PC store because they don't want their games to be seen as, oh, people can play these on their Xboxes or the PC Xbox PCs and stuff. You know what I mean? A little bit of biasness. Sony is also facing a $2.7 billion lawsuit that could change it forever, apparently. And apparently they're being sued via the UK on the biasness of complaint resting on the idea that the company has prevented players from buying digital products outside of its own ecosystem, like I was just talking about. That's what they're doing. Also, there's been a lot of talks about the PlayStation on how people are saying that Sony and PlayStation is doing price testing on their games and such. And a lot of people think that that should be illegal because they're doing a price comparison pricing or flux pricing, where the same game sold on their platform and different platforms. If you log into your user account or whatever, or outside of it, and the price can change depending on where you're looking at it and where it is on the Sony platform and stuff like that. And that seems very, very bad, but I guess they're only testing out in a few places and countries and such like that. But still, that variable pricing or dynamic pricing, as they say, that's a bad slippery slope. That's a bad slippery slope. But it, like I said, they talk about parts of Europe doing with the very dynamic pricing, Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. But here in the United States and Japan, we're not included in that stuff because of our regulatory regulations on that stuff. And then, like I said, talking about how, they're not opening up their platform for third-party sales and other third-party sales that other, what am I talking about? Other people can play or buy or sell their games on from their third-party platforms on a PlayStation or Xbox or something, and Sony's keeping their system locked down, so they're getting sued. And eventually we'll see this news article for Nintendo, like I said, going forward, because the world and the world governments are saying, no, everybody should have their systems open so people can sell from any storefront on their systems. And for what Sony's been doing and Microsoft was doing and Nintendo has been doing for generations, they've been just sticking with this is our system, this is our software, this is our storefront, and this is where you got to sell your game. And we make our profit like you do from selling that said game. So there you go. And two more news stories. This one, a little bit of Sega just spinning out some shit talk here. Sega states that, yeah, you are all real nice about our games and you say our games are awesome, but you sure aren't buying them. And I wonder if that's just because maybe they're not priced variably. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're just making stuff that people just don't feel is worth the money that they're costing. A lot of their Sega is trying to charge like $80 or $70 for this or that title. Maybe it's only worth $40 or something, just like they do with the Yakuza titles over there at Sega. But sometimes their stuff is too expensive, or people just not feeling it out, or a lot of people are just still playing the Fortnite and stuff, and Sega's like, hey, we're coming out with this, we're coming out with Persona this and that, a remake of this, and you're just not buying enough. They want you to buy, everybody to buy Sega games. Sega wants you to buy their games everywhere, not just talk about them in sweet happiness. Now, I still buy Sega games. Not the latest remaster of that Yakuza 3 / Dark Tides game, not because of the guy, but because the game is just too expensive in my mind. If I'm just going to play the Dark Tides part and I don't care about the Yakuza 3 part because I played it so many times. But yeah, they're talking about like critically acclaimed titles like Virtual Fighter 5 Revo, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, which that game is amazing, folks. If you haven't played Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, that is a good spin-off of the Yakuza games. That is a great game. 2 Point Museum, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. I also have them played that. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S. Bunch of games that I don't know about. Sonic Racing Crossroads. I want to buy that game, but the game is too damn expensive. That I can say. $70 for a racing game, and it's been out for a long time, too expensive. I wanted at least 40 or under. If I can get Sonic Racing Crossroads for 40 or under, I will buy it. Because I think it's too much money. I think $70 for Sonic Racing Crossroads is too much for me. And they talk about other stuff like Metaphor, Refantazio and stuff, which I also got cheaper on the Xbox PC store. So got that game cheaper. So of course I bought it. And I had the physical copy cheaper as well. But I am currently, am I selling it or do I just have them? I think I have them in my collection still. And a bunch of other things. But Sega's like saying, hey, yeah, you guys say you like our games, but they look nice and all that, but you're not buying them and we're not making that money. And I think it's just because games are too expensive. I think $70 has broken a lot of gamers. And I said this before. I said, hey, these companies think their games can sell for hundreds of dollars someday and all this stuff. And they keep raising the prices. They raised the prices from 50 to 60. Now they're 60 to 70 all of a sudden. And they think they're worth it. And they're taking too much time and too much money to make these games. And gamers and people aren't making the money like they should be doing. You know, it's hard to make $60, $70 and you got other stuff to pay for. People are going to wait for a sale or people just not going to buy your game. And if these games were $60 or cheaper, people would be buying them like crazy. You'd be selling millions and millions of copies of all these games. So I'm thinking that Sega's got to reevaluate how they put out their games and how much these games cost and how long they take, just like everybody else, because everybody thinks they can charge a premium. Like when Nintendo tries to sell Mario Kart World for $80 and suckers buy that. Most likely they get the bundle with the console and that's how they got it, but some suckers probably bought that game outright. And for people to think that some of these games are worth, or like when Microsoft tried to sell, what game was it? It was one of those games and they thought they were going to get $80 for it. And it's like, no, this game ain't worth $80. What was that? Oh, it was Outer Worlds 2. Yeah. And that's why Outer Worlds 2 didn't sell that well because they tried to charge a premium for it when it wasn't a premium. It's getting hot in here. I got to end this podcast. I will leave this one last article out right here. I can leave it for the next time because it's getting hot in this office. And yeah, it's getting hot in this office. Whew, it's already 75 degrees in here and I'm sweating. I don't know if you can see this. I'm sweating. So we're going to end the podcast now. Still a pretty long podcast, over 2 hours, but I'm going to end it now. I hope I sounded good. I hope you enjoyed my audio. I know I look good, even though I'm starting to sweat, but I can't see it in my camera, but I got my sunshades on now. So, but it's hot in here. I'm done. There's nothing more to talk about. My throat is killing me. I've been talking all day on stuff, doing gaming videos and now the podcast. If you guys got any comments or questions for me, feel free to email me at oldfreakygamer@gmail.com. Feel free to join me on Twitter, X, and tweet me and stuff from BlueSky. I'm on both of them at OldFreakyGamer on both of those things, or OldFreakyGamer something on BlueSky. You'll find me. I'm OldFreakyGamer. You can find me. But you can also direct message me and whatnot on those platforms. Or you can just comment on the podcast on my YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to it. It's free. And go ask a question. Give me your opinions, what you think about any of this stuff that I talked about today on the podcast, on the channel, under the video and stuff like that. And we can have a conversation because I like to know what other people think about all this stuff beyond Project Helix and stuff. Or if you're not going to get a console, maybe you got a PC and stuff, or maybe games that are $70+ are just too expensive and they should be all back to 60. 60, I think, was an okay price point. I do miss the time of the $50 games when those used to be the higher price point games. That was during the 360 era. But I was like, yeah, okay, they go to 60. Okay, that's good. That's where I'm going to that's where I'm drawing the line. And then $70 came popping up. And then they were talking about $80 and people were trying that. And I'm like, no. And then, because, then they keep talking about going up and up. And they're like, well, prices and costs of making games has gone up so much. Eventually, we're going to be charging $100 on a game. And it's like, no, we can't do that nowadays. Back in the day, sure, you used to charge like $100 on games and stuff back in the early days and stuff of York and stuff. But no, this generation ain't going to do that. This generation, cheap generation. This generation wants things either cheap or free. That's what people want nowadays, cheap or free. And if you don't have your stuff cheap or free, then it's a no-go. Then they don't buy it. Then they just keep playing Fortnite and Minecraft and everything else that is something that they can just keep playing and playing and playing because people don't want to spend the money or they don't have the money. And you can't blame them all. There are a lot of cheap people out there, but you can't blame everybody on that stuff. That's on you guys, the game makers and stuff, and the hardware providers and the industry in general, because there's just too much stuff coming out. And when a lot of people say, well, most of these people aren't buying most of these games anyways that are coming out, and they're playing all the same games or indie games and stuff. It just gets you wondering, where's the industry going to head? Are all the big industry leaders going to just drop down their expectations and make less games, or make their games less than AAA, and they're going to go backwards on how they make their games and stuff and sell their games and all that? Maybe they should. Let's get back to the 360 kind of things, because I don't care. For me, graphics is, I like games when they have great graphics, but I don't really care. Look, I'm playing like TCG Card Simulator and Minecraft Java Edition and Battletoads and stuff like that, and Supermarket Simulator and Persona 4 Golden. Those aren't hefty, technical driven games, but they play and I have fun with them, and that's great. And then you got a Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade or something, or Assassin's Creed Shadows that look flawlessly amazing. They're big and stuff, and I'm like, sure, I'll spend some money on those. And Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade was only $40, and it's giving me tons of hours of gameplay and fun. And Assassin's Creed Shadows went down in price, and I bought that, and it's going to give me months and maybe a year or two of great gameplay. So people got to think about where you are at and making games and how this industry is going, because, even with a Project Helix like this next gen Xbox, I don't know how well it's going to sell. If they're going to make the PC side like a PC, actually, if it's truly going to be like a PC and it's not going to be locked down on the PC side of things, like if they could put like other software on that to run like Office and this and stuff, and it's also a console for Xbox games as well, and you can play your PC games on it as well, but you can still do more stuff to it. That seems intriguing to me, because then it's like, oh, you're making a real PC / Xbox console on one. That means people that can't afford or don't want to spend tons of money on just one or the other are going to get both together, and then they get a lot of choice out of that one machine and a lot of power. Sure, it's going to cost them a bit of money to get this machine, but then they can hook it up to their TVs, their monitors. They can hook up a keyboard and mouse to it. That's a lot of good stuff. That's taking the general direction, like out of a Nintendo playbook when they did the console handheld hybrid, where they made the Switch and the Switch 2, where it's the console and it's the handheld, and you can plug it into your TV or you can play it on the go. That's what Microsoft's kind of doing in the way with the Xbox PC thing, hybrid, and it could work. It could work. They just got to be very careful on pricing and how that thing works, updates, and storage and stuff like that. But if they get all that, if they get that right and they don't fuck that shit up, maybe they got a chance. And then you got Sony. They're going to be super locked down. They're going to get third-party games, but they're not making too many first-party games. Their machine sounds like a very, very, very expensive machine. Talking about premium machines, and we're talking about Microsoft talking about that this Xbox is going to be a premium console. I don't know. I think Sony's console is going to be a premium console when it's got GDDR6, 30 gigs, 30 plus gigabytes of that and everything else. That seems very, very expensive. And they weren't even really talking about their handheld yet. Because they're supposed to be doing the handheld as well. And it's like, ugh. And that's all going to be locked down behind their paywall, unless if the EU and stuff gets the lawsuit on them working, and then they got to open up their storefront and stuff over on Sony. If that happens, and I wonder if Microsoft/Xbox is watching and paying attention, because if the payment system, because they're going after the payment system, I think mostly, but I think they're talking about opening up the storefront in general. But if they get the PlayStation to open up their storefront, which also they're going to have to do on Nintendo, just like they did with, the Apple and Google, I wonder if Microsoft would be able to get Game Pass on the PlayStation then and put it in their store and say, hey, they're allowed to put this on here and we can, we're going to make money off of this thing. I wonder if Sony would what would they do about that? Because if they get sued because they're not allowing these third-party apps and stuff, and Game Pass is its own app for games and such, imagine having Xbox Game Pass on your PlayStation or your Nintendo Switch too. Imagine all those games you can play on those systems, either on the hardware, cloud, stuff like that. Seems very intriguing. That's just my open-mindedness. My open mind is different from reality. Reality is everything's going to still be locked down. Sony and Nintendo will fight tooth and nail to keep their systems locked down. Microsoft will try to be open and nicer and stuff about the next gen console, but I don't think it's going to get those European people. They're very high strung on PlayStation, but hey, people will learn. So we're done here. Like I said, we got a full week of stuff going on. Like I said, we had the podcast today. Tomorrow we got another game through episode of Life is Strange Double Exposure going on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to have that Let's Play of TCG Card Shop Simulator. I damn well guarantee it, and I'm not going to delete it this time, this game file. And then Friday will be another GameOn live session with more Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which I will be streaming at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and Twitch.tv. And you can go to OldFreakyGamer for all that stuff, the schedule, the podcast, videos, and more. OldFreakyGamer.com. And you can find, and when you go to that site, you can also go and click on the YouTube and Twitch.tv links and stuff and go to those respectable sites as well for my content, my video, because I'd like to do a lot of videos. And this podcast is free. I also have a Mr. Mike's tip jar on my website at oldfreakygamer.com and youtube.com as well for Mr. Mike's tip jar. If you feel like my stuff is worth some money, throw a few shekels into the jar and, especially for this $300 microphone. I hope it sounds good. Let me know also under the video in the comments section. Let me know if the video looks great to you guys, and let me know how the audio sounds. I would like to know. Thank you very much. So I'm ending this podcast. So everybody, game on, game hard, world conquest. I'm pushing this gaming button, and the show is now game over. See ya. I'm out.
So slicker, neon bright, old freaky gamer plays all night. Joystick in one hand, fries in the other. He's the king of one more level, brother. Press start, he's in the zone. His throne's a squeaky chair alone. Old freaky gamer, he's tapping that.
Game over.